Star Wars Unlimited fans, welcome to round one of September 11th local night at Valkyrie Vault in Brownsburg, Indiana. If you guys are looking for a place to play some Star Wars Unlimited, Valkyrie Vault is a place to check out. Thursday nights, 6 p.m., $5 entry. You always walk away with a minimum of your promo pack and a pack of the current set. Time of this recording, LOF. So this is a very special day for at Valkyrie Vault. One of our locals in the Discord, which of course you can find a link to Discord through using the link in the description below to Valkyrie Vault's website, where you can then go find a Discord, wanted to play Padawan format. So Padawan format states that you can use any leader you want. You have to use a common base, and every card in your deck has to be common. So no starter cards, nothing like that. They all have to be common. Or if you, in the case of like some of the cards that got printed in set 1, 2, and 3 for the promo packs, did get like rarity buffs ups, like rares and stuff, but they were still originally printed in common, you can still do that. So majority of the people came in with, of course, Padawan decks. I will tell you right now, the player on my on the right did not bring a Padawan deck. This actually is a fully functioning standard deck. So there will not be Padawan gameplay on this side. I will have Padawan gameplay over here. And then I believe the rest of these videos, rounds 2 and 3, are all Padawan. So you'll get full Padawan gameplays in round 2 and 3. You just won't get all Padawan gameplay here for this one. But let me tell you, Padawan's a pretty interesting format to build around, especially when you're locked behind commons only. Your leader can be any rare or common, and your base has to be straight up common. So in this case, my Padawan deck I decided to build for was Vader Yellow, just because I really like Vader Yellow. And you know, I think if I had been playing against a Padawan strategy, I think I would have actually had a little bit of a time than playing against this. But Vader's Yellow, we've seen it before. In normal standard, this thing spams tie tokens like it's no business. You just smash your opponent's face in the sky, and that's what you do for a Padawan format. So in essence, I just dropped out a lot of the really good cards, played a lot of the common ships, and I still could just spam up tie tokens using Vader's effect. Vader flips on 6, and he can flip for the ground for a generic, I believe a 5/6 vanilla, or you can attach him to a pilot, and you get a +5/+5 upgrade onto it, and you get 2 tie tokens. So against my non-Padawan gameplay, it will be against Boba, Shadows of the Galaxy, Yellow. This is, of course, the Boba Fett that states when you play a card with a keyword, you can tap it to give another unit a +1. So it's all about keywords, and then when he flips, he has, I believe, Overwhelm on his backside, and as well as he gives everybody with a keyword a +1. He flips for 6. So this whole strategy is just spamming keywords, mainly the ambush keyword. This strategy actually was played when Django Target Town was like very prevalent at the start of the JTL meta, because the fact is most of your stuff is just straight up ambushing into your opponent. So you would typically in the ambush tap it to trigger its effect so that you can just punch with a little more power behind it. So that's typically all you would do in this strategy. It's straight up just ambush. But still, it's a neat strategy. I mean, you just play a bunch of guys with keywords and you can do stuff like that. So with that said, let's jump into game number 1 and see just how bad it goes for me. Because I will spoil it, I did not win. As it should be told, a Padawan deck against a competent, normal strategy. So anyways, we're just rolling up some dice here to see who will go first. It looks like Boba is going to be able to go first here. So they're going to tap 2. They're immediately going to put in a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing into the sky. I'm going to tap 1. I'm going to put out a Republic Y-Wing into the sky. And then we're immediately just going to pass. Once again, a lot of this stuff is common. So I believe the 𝐒𝐐𝐑 is uncommon. I believe the 𝐒𝐐𝐑 is a common. I can't fully remember. But anyways, it's still just the exact same strategy. We're going to go for blue leader. And then we're going to tap them the Boba to get an extra +1 to the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing here. We're immediately going to go for the P-38. And then immediately going to ping 1 damage onto the A-Wing. The A-Wing is immediately going to swing into the base to deal 4 damage. Again, the P-31 on death immediately allows to ping 1 more damage. So technically, I could swing the P-38 into, of course, Blue Squadron here and then knock out the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing with that as well. So right now, that'd be my only attack. Again, the best way to deal with Vader in the normal circumstance is always to deal with its space front, not letting it kill go after anything. So anyways, we're going to kill Blue Squadron, and then the P-38 is going to knock out the Phoenix Squadron, so I don't have to worry about either of those. And then I can tap, of course, Vader here and make a TIE token because I will have it. Anyways, we're going to go for the Bright Hope out onto the area, so I'm just kind of deciding what I want to do, because again, we are dealing with a Bright Hope here. We're going to go for a Death Space Skirmisher, but there's going to be no effect because I don't control another unit. Here, I'm just going to create a TIE token and then pass. Again, the Bright Hope is a 2/6 Sentinel that states on its front that when played, you can return a non-leader ground unit back to your hand and then draw 1. It's a pretty okay card overall, but it is still nice. But another thing that I have in this Vader deck is because the one and only strategy I really thought about was the Vulture Droids. The Vulture Droids are all common in this. So anyways, we're going to have a Han Solo equipped to the Bright Hope to immediately then swing and then killing the Death Space Skirmisher to knock out for 3 damage there. And then we can do some other interesting things here. So we're just going to go for 3. We're going to waylay that back into the hand so we don't have to deal with the Han Solo. Like I said, it's a little unfair if you really think about it, but not everyone's on the Discord, so not everyone knew we were doing Padawan here. So anyways, I'm going to just pay 2. I'm going to put out a Swarming Vulture Droid. But what I actually built this Vader deck around is Swarming Vulture Droids, where in game text it states you can have up to 15 Swarming Vulture Droids in your deck at any one time. So my whole thing is I'm just playing a whole bunch of Swarming Vulture Droids, each other Swarming Vulture Droids gets itself +1 for each one that's on the board state. So it's pretty nice. So anyways, we're going to swing for 3 there. We're going to swing for 2 on the base. That will allow me to get yet another thing. Then we're going to flip over to, we're going to flip, Boba there. You know, he didn't have Everone. For some reason, I thought he had Overone, but maybe I've lost my mind. I don't know. So anyways, we're going to go for another Bright Hope, or the same Bright Hope, I guess you should say, because technically I did bounce it back with a waylay. So I did bounce it back. There with the waylay, he is going to spin back the Luke back to hand so that he can attach it immediately to the Bright Hope. Then again, once that Luke upgrade dies, he technically does get to then go on the ground as a unit. So we're going to make a couple more TIE tokens. We're going to get hit with a base for damage from the Boba's head here. Again, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, isn't that really cheating? I mean, didn't most of the people here play Padawan? I said, yeah. I mean, again, unless you're on the Discord and you would have known we were going to do a Padawan format. I think we had 3 people at our locals who didn't know we today had Padawan. But again, you have to look at the Discord to know that we were going to play Padawan with all that respect. So anyways, I'm just going to waylay back the Bright Hope, and then I'm going to be hit with a Bamboozle, and then which means I lose the Darth Vader there attached to the MC-30, which would have been doing 10 damage. I'm going to swing 5 with the MC-30. I'm either going to put a Independent Smuggler under the Vulture Droid so that I can immediately use that effect. And immediately Ahsoka is going to be able to then come out. It's going to rip out my 7th Fleet Defender. And then I'm immediately going to have to rest the Vulture Droid. And then the Thunderian Peacekeeper on the other side. But I will let you know, funny enough, a Padawan deck did win the entire event. My deck just decided it didn't want to win against a deck that spams at the ground. And I think Vader Yellow is just a whole lot more better when you're playing constructed rather than when you are stuck to commons only. And you can't use any specialty rare cards either. So you're kind of stuck to all that. Once again, remember, Boba does give everyone a +1 if they have a keyword attached to himself. So anyways, we're just going to swing. We're going to swing for 4 here because, again, thanks to the Swarming Vulture Droid getting 2 plus the 1 for the Independent Smuggler, and the Independent Smuggler then gives an extra +1 on there as well because of the raid. So I could have thought about playing a couple of more Vultures, and then I could have swung for a whole lot more damage. But I'm not exactly sure why I didn't do that just immediately. Like my first turn play would have been play out the Vulture and then go for the Vulture to make sure and then pump the Vulture up by 1 more point there. And they could have swung for 5 damage on that attack there instead of just the 4 here, as my opponent has resolving a U-Wing reinforcements. Look at top 7 of your deck. You can play units for up to a cost of 7 or less, I believe. I can't remember. I know it's a pretty high cost that you can get off of it, but still, you can still get a pretty good cost out of it, but nonetheless. So anyways, we're going to bring out Sundarian and then a modified cohort. So yeah, it is 7 because that's a 3 and a 4. So anyways, I'm just going to get killed in the ground here. As you can see, there's really no way. Yeah, I could put on another vulture. I can then get hit with an Ahsoka. And then there's nothing really I can do. I'm at 26. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop that one up and give my opponent game number 1. So that means it's time to go to game number 2. Here we go, folks, for game number 2. We have both finished up our resourcing. I am going to go for the Kajimi to immediately play out the TIE token. We're going to go Gunji down on the ground here. I'm going to immediately reclaim the initiative here. Past, I did have some ground units in here, basically like crafty smugglers, stuff with shields on it, but majority of my deck is space because, again, that's what Vader really wants to be, is in the space, not really in the ground. So that's pretty much it. So anyways, we're going to go for the Kajimi. We're going to hit for 1. Again, remember, Vader's effect only triggers when you attack with a non-token vehicle unit. So I do actually have to attack with a vehicle here. So anyways, we're going to go for the 7th Fleet Defender. 7th Fleet Defender to come in with shielded here as well. So that does mean we have the TIE to swing as well. And then we have a Luke Skywalker on the ground. There could have been the chance maybe I should have put out the Crafty Smuggler just so I could have it. Because at this point, I could have hit the Crafty Smuggler into the Luke Skywalker, busted the shield, and killed off the Luke there just so I don't have to deal with the 3. The problem is there is that Gunji right now because I really don't have much of a way to really deal with a Gunji. But I still have it. I mean, I do actually have air superiority in my hand, which is pretty nice because I can use air superiority as long as I control more space units than my opponent. I can deal 4 damage to any one ground unit I want. So I did put that in, and funny enough, it is a common, so it's really nice to use, especially when you're in green, especially if you're a leader that wants to spam space and your opponent doesn't have enough space unit. So anyways, we're going to go for blue leader to crack off one of the TIE tokens there. We're going to go for a swarming vulture droid just to start getting the swarm going. And then we're immediately going to swing another TIE fighter into our opponent's base, and we're just going to pass from there. Right now, I think I'm trying to keep air superiority once Boba Fett drops out on the boards, just so I can deal with him. So kind of have to what we want to see here, because Blue Leader does only have 2 health points left on it. So we're immediately just going to kill off the vulture droid just so that does not get out of hand too quick. I was deciding on whether I wanted to go air superiority there. I am just going to go for the MC-30 assault frigate here, just because I know next turn I can flip Darth Vader here for it all. Then we're going to immediately put out the Sundari. Then going to tap Boba to give a +1 to Luke, just so we can deal with it. And then we're immediately going to swing the Kajimi into the base, dealing 1 more damage. And then we're immediately going to put out a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing out onto the board. And then I can easily claim the initiative here, so we could do that. Or I'm going to make another TIE token, just get some more tokens on the board. And then we're going to hit for 2 from the Gunji. So right now, it is a pretty close game on game 2, because I am keeping the air under my control. We're only a 1-point difference, but the problem is my opponent is about to get a heal going off with that Sundari. And the Sundari is a 1/5, funny enough. So it does have a little more staying power than the ability I have with air superiority there, unfortunately. So we're gonna just spin back the MC-30, which makes sense. I mean, why not spin it back? We're gonna go for the Vader under the 7th Fleet Defender. We're immediately gonna deal 3 damage to the base with of course the A-Wing. I could have swung at it with, of course, the MC-30. Anyways, we're going to deal a whole bunch of damage here. And then we're immediately going to put down the Death Space Skirmisher, resting the Boba Fett so I don't have to worry about it. But again, we are dealing with, of course, that heal coming from the Sundari, which heals, I believe, is a Restore 2 on the attack. Again, it does 3 damage also on itself. So anyways, we're going to go for air superiority to knock out the Luke there, so I just don't have to take the damage. And then we have the Gunji, and then I'm going to swing for the Kajimi into my opponent's base. Maybe there should have been a point where I probably should have just simply claimed just to force my opponent that. Then I could have swung again with that Vader swinging for 8 on it and then gone from there. But the problem is I am in a state of losing. Here, as you can clearly see, I did lost the initiative here. My opponent is actually going to be able to get it, but I can get the game right here and there because of the 7th Fleet Defender does immediately allow me to go for the Boba Fett, but unfortunately we're going to see the Bright Hope. Bright Hope will not bounce anything back, but unfortunately that is annoying because we can go that. I can still get it here because of the fact I could just waylay the Bright Hope back. He doesn't have enough resources to play the Bright Hope again, so we're just going to waylay the Bright Hope back into his hand and then immediately be able to do that. Unfortunately, the heal there does mean that I'm pretty much dead on a board state, because the problem is, even with the swing of 8, there's no way for me to win the game. So I'm just going to scoop it up from there and lose to a fully constructed game. But it was very close in game 2, or should I say, a fully constructed deck. But it was very close in game number 2. I nearly had the base. If he hadn't seen the Bright Hope, I think I could have gotten it right then and there. So if he hadn't seen Bright Hope as his first thing, I could have gone Bright Hope, Bright Hope. If he didn't see Bright Hope, I could have easily gone 7-feet Defender, not hit right into the base, and then that would have been game then and there. We would have gone to a game number 3. Unfortunately, like I said, round 1, I matched up against someone who just didn't know we were playing, of course, Padawan. If they're not catching up with the Discord, again, if you guys want to join, and these formats do happen. For instance, I brought up Trilogy for the next week, so we actually did Trilogy for the following week, which was a lot of fun. Everyone actually brought Trilogy, which was a lot of fun. I think we had one person who didn't bring Trilogy, but that was easy to explain. If anyone didn't bring with it, we were just going to have someone ban one of the 3 decks we brought, and they would have to fight the 2 decks we brought, and we would have to win with both of those decks. That's what our thought process was for anyone who didn't bring Trilogy. But unfortunately, yeah, that's how it cookie crumbles. It's good enough that the event was won by a Padawan strategy. Like I said, rounds 2 and 3, you guys are going to get Padawan content. It just happens that round 1, my opponent was not on Padawan. So again, if you guys want to suggest special formats for events like the hyped up Trilogy, a lot of people are really been enjoying, and or Padawan formats, or other special things you guys want to try out over here at Valkyrie Bowl, make sure you got a link down in the description. Make sure you are talking over on the Discord with everybody there, just so you know what's going on, especially if we have specialty formats or you guys want to represent more specialty formats. So with that said, let me know your guys' thoughts down on the comments on the gameplay, on the decks. Have you guys tried out a Padawan format yet? What decks would you want to play in Padawan format? I say 100%. I'm not too sold on Vader and Padawan. Vader, Vulture Swarm and Padawan. But still, I wanted to try it out. It's just a fun little format. I think there's a lot you can do with. I think the winning deck was I forget what it was, but I know for a fact, I believe it was playing, I know it was a villainy deck, and I believe it was in blue. So it had a really good, so it had all the concepts of blue and all that. So yeah, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and let me know if I missed anything in the gameplay. And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you know if my videos go live for you. And we'll see you next time on Wild Dragons TCG.